Hey, it's Scott from Streampunk Cinema, and hard to believe, but we are almost halfway through the season of X-Men 97, and time is flying. And now we finally hit one of the parts of the original X-Men series that I always felt was better in many ways than Batman the Animated Series. It was the multi-part saga. I've mentioned this before, that the original series had 2 to upwards of even 5 episodes in a story arc that made some sagas feel in the original X-Men series more like a movie than an episodic, and I think now is the perfect time after 3 episodes to hit up a 2-parter. So did it succeed or did it fail? This was a curious episode in the sense that it was absolutely clearly 2 separate episodes with 2 clearly separate tones, something that I think both saved it and hurt it. So I'll be rating each part individually in this case. First of all, Motendo. The episode centers around Jubilee turning 18, but before that, we did have one small scene with Gambit and Magneto with Rogue clearly in the middle. I'm sure this is going to come to a head at some point. Gambit, my guess, will leave by the end of the season, maybe head back home for season 2. But back to Jubilee. When she sees a Motendo entertainment system with an X-Men cartridge in it and very obviously Sega Genesis controllers, she figures it's a present for her birthday. Naturally, her and Roberto are sucked into the game as everyone expected. I did wonder if they were going to do a nod to the original X-Men game on the Genesis, and it's infuriating little fun fact that in the Mojo level, you have to reset the game to get to the final level. If you don't reset the game at the end of the level, you just die. Clever, but infuriating as hiffle. Anywho's, Jubilee and Sunspot are a good tandem, and they do feel like teenagers. Sunspot is still afraid to show his parents he's a mutant, and Jubilee wanting the day to be about her turning 18 fits both characters. Jubilee often annoyed me in the original series, being too kid-like to really blend well. This episode shows her maturity as she's no longer the kid of the group and has to learn to protect Roberto. I did enjoy Mojo being Mojo. Credit to David Arrigo Jr., aka Ferb from Phineas and Ferb, for bringing the proper quirkiness to the character. But it was good this was only half an episode. Otherwise, I think if this was a full episode, it may have dragged. By the way, massive swing and a miss opportunity. Magneto clearly needed to say, "Welcome to die." That would have been a smart nod. Quick fact, the game was based on a failed pilot called Pride of the X-Men from 1989. The voice of Magneto in that, Earl Bowen, best known as Dr. Silverman in 3 Terminator movies. I thought the masked character might have been Spiral, but being a beta game version of Jubilee was clever to show what she can become. Seeing what she would look like both older and more skilled in her powers I think was great and something we can look forward to. In a weird way though, it gave me vibes to that Doctor Who episode The Girl Who Waited, where there was both a younger and an older, more mature and more skilled Amy Pond. But a great way to show she's going to mature and become badass and not someone who basically just shoots fireworks. Overall, I give Motendo a 7. It was clearly meant to expand on the Jubilee-Roberto romance that we all knew was coming, but I felt it was good to basically be a short. You might think differently, and that is 100% cool with me. Anyway, part 2. This one, however, needed to be a full episode. Forge is clearly making the moves on Storm. He cooks her dinner, he gives her wine, the guy is smooth. Forge does explain his gift of invention, but also explains briefly the loss of his hand and his leg in a war that's a topic that may come up in the future. Nice nod to X-Force, which also appeared in the intro as well. But the romance between them felt rushed. Like I said, this was better suited for a full episode. After one attempt, he couldn't restore her powers, she cried, he held her, he confessed that he helped engineer the inhibitor collars, he says he loves her, and she rebuffs him. All in the period of about 3 minutes of episode. Anyway, her grief fosters the adversary, a demon from the Cheyenne who feasts on misery, and with that, the episode ends. Gotta give this one a 6, it's a good start, but felt way too rushed at points to cram in the twist at the end. Overall, not a bad episode, but I felt it was the weakest of the series so far. Next week, I do hope and I do expect that the entire episode will revolve around Storm, Forge, and the adversary, and in the end, I'm guessing she'll get her powers back and leave Forge behind. For now, anyway. So what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. I'm Scott, thanks for watching, and as always, stay awesome.